This example asks me to write the equation of a line with the given properties. The slope of the line is 2/5 and the line goes through the point 10, -3. So when I'm writing equation of a line, I think of the y equals mx plus b slope form of a line, slope-intercept form, excuse me, where m is the slope and 0, b is the y-intercept. So when I look at what I've been given the slope, and I look at this point just in case it's the y-intercept, but the y-intercept would have an x-coordinate of 0 and this doesn't. So I know the slope, but I don't know the y-intercept. So I can write my formula so far as y equals, and I can put that slope in, 2/5. So y equals 2/5 x plus b. But unfortunately, I do not know what b is. The piece of information I do have, though, is a point that the line goes through, 10, -3. So if this is a solution for this equation, if it's a point on the line, I could put the values 10 in for x and -3 in for y, and then I would have an equation that I could solve and find out what b would be. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take that point, and I'm going to put in -3 for y, because that's the y-coordinate. And then I have the 2/5 in for x. X-coordinate is here. I have 10, so I'll put in 10 plus b. So I've substituted the y value in for y and the x value in for x in my y equals mx plus b form. Now I have an equation where b is the only unknown and I can solve for that. So I have -3 equals 2/5 times 10 is 4 plus b. And then to isolate b, I'd subtract 4 from both sides, and I get b equals -7. So now I have a b value. I already had an m value, my slope. So I can go to my equation, y equals mx plus b. And in for m, I can put 2/5. And in for b, I can put -7, -7. So here's my equation. It has the slope of 2/5, and I have calculated what the b is from the point 10, -3. So this equation should be going through that point 10, -3. So I'm going to go ahead and use my graphing calculator to check that. I'm going to go to my graphing calculator, turn it on, go into my y equals, clear out anything that was there, and I'm going to put in this formula. Whenever you're working with the calculator and you're putting in a fraction times another quantity, in this case 2/5 times x, you want to put the fraction in parentheses. So I'm going to put a parentheses, and then I'm going to go 2 divided by 5 and end the parentheses, 2/5. Then I'll push the variable button right here for x, -7. So I have y equals 2/5 x minus 7, and I'm going to push graph to graph it. It's going to graph the line, and what I'm trying to check is if indeed that line goes through this point, 10, -3. To check that, I can enter 10 using my calc function. So I go to second, and then the word calc above the trace button, second, calc. And I want to choose value because I'm trying to find a particular value. And it prompts me to put in the x-coordinate, and I have 10 for my x, so I'll enter 10. And then I'm going to push the enter button, and it's going to pop out my y. And it says y equals -3. It shows that point is right over on the edge of the graph. And I wanted that point to be 10, -3. And indeed that was on the line. So I can feel confident in my solution, y equals 2/5 x minus 7.